Alright, so I admit it. I'm kinda tired, and I'm also running out of ideas. Of why you may ask? This. I've been working on this for so long. I think I'm burnt out a little bit. Why not just rest, you may say? And at that point, I'll tell you to shut up. Because we don't do that over here. So I decided to take on a new project, totally different from what I've been working on. And then coincidentally, there was a game jam happening. I came across the game jam by watching this man right here who's literally scared of every single horror game ever made. I don't understand how a man can be so scared of everything. That was to work in my favor because I had never made a horror game before. But I also needed some backup. So I called up a friend. This is exactly how the conversation went. Brother, do you want to make the scariest, most terrifying, most gut-wrenching game you've ever made in your life? No. There is $1,000 on the line. I'm in. With all of that sorted, we only had one task. Start working on the game. During the planning phase, we had a couple ideas that were thrown around. The first idea was we have a person in a house and a lot of scary stuff happens. Generic, I know. That's what I said. So we started looking into African killers until we found ourselves our local boogeyman, the sugarcane killer. So what this guy used to do is that he used to drag women into sugarcane fields, other people's sugarcane fields by the way. So he would kill them in those fields. I know, it made me sick to my stomach too, but it made for a good environment because I felt like having a horror game in a sugarcane field, that's gonna feel different because a lot of people are going to have their horror games set inside some building, some house, something of that sort, and having our game outdoors is really gonna make it feel different, I hope. The way we decided to go about this game was that you were going to play as the victims while you have the sugarcane killer chase you around the fields. So what happens is that you wake up in a sugarcane field and then nothing. We didn't think that far through. So we sat down again and had to think of what should be happening in the sugarcane field. We can't just have a random person chasing you and then you just running infinitely with no purpose, right? So we decided to put a little bit of African culture in that and we added totems. So these totems were going to aid you in escaping the maze, but not until you trigger every totem. So this also gave us the idea that what if we use sound as a major helper in this game? So the sound is gonna aid you towards where is the escape, right? And while we were cooking that, we also thought, you know what if we give the player a way to hide? That also caused the problem because the player could just hide infinitely and would never get caught and the game becomes boring. So what I decided to do, so there were a lot of things we wanted to add to the game, but 2 weeks was just not going to be enough. And plus, we're not going to be working on the game every single day. We gave dedicated time to the game. We wasted so much time just trying to figure out what should be in the game instead of actually making the game. But I guess it all got around and we actually made something tangible. So let me explain what happens in the game now. You start off in the game as a victim and you have to escape the maze. How you escape the maze is by triggering totems. So you trigger totems by holding the E button and you hear a sound at the end of that. That lets you know that that totem has been triggered. So you have to find multiple totems. The maze field, wait, the sugarcane field. Wait, so it's a sugarcane field, but it's also a maze. But this is confusing for me as it is for you right now. So once you trigger every totem in the field, you hear a horn sound that lets you know that okay, a path has been opened, go to where that horn sound is coming from and escape. So while you do that, there are a lot of things that can happen in the field. And I took my sweet time into perfecting jump scares and just normal scares and watching my friends freak out when they play tested the game. It was very, very fun. So I'll explain every jump scare we had in the game, but this will kind of spoil it for people who want to try the game. The first thing we have is the crawling men. That's what I'm calling them. Every time you pass by a certain area, you hear a sound and then you see this guy just crawling in front of you. He does nothing to hurt you, but it can still freak you out if you're not prepared for it. And plus, imagine you're being chased by Sugar. And yeah, we did decide to call the guy Sugar, by the way. That was not my idea. It was from the guy who didn't even want to be in this jam, but he decided to start naming the characters in the game. The next thing is that I added body bags as a jump scare. I feel like it wasn't actually a jump scare, but it's just something that makes you go, "What the hell?" So I feel like it did its job. How to beat 13 nights at the plantation. So the goal is basically save the victims, right? So each time you die, that victim is dead. So you move on to the next level with a different victim. So this wasn't necessarily said, but you get to see the environment change. So you ask yourself, what's happening? So yeah, that gets explained at the end, that you save this amount of victims and you let these amount of victims die. So we wanted to keep that mystery vibe to the game, but I felt like that was just confusing to the players. I'm not only going to cover the positives of our project, I'm also going to cover the negatives. And yeah, a lot of things were confusing. For example, dragging and dropping traps. Yeah, we also had that, by the way. You can also throw rocks. Oh my days, this game had so much. And also, I felt like that's what contributed to the game not being to what we expected, because we had so much going on. We just didn't focus on a particular thing and perfected it. But still, I felt like it's one of my most polished projects for the time frame. So I'm still proud of it, not gonna lie. It finally reached a time whereby we had to submit the game, and we did. And I looked at other people's submissions, and I realized we were not winning this one. But the goal was not to win, honestly. The goal was just to refresh, clear my brain from whatever I had been working on, work on something different, and actually get to see it through the end. And this whole experience made me realize that maybe I should just stick to racing games, because oh my days, this was the most stressful I've ever been. I thought I was going to relax, but no, I just stressed myself, like, definitely. And don't expect me to be doing this anytime soon, unless a lot of people love the project. Then obviously I'll be forced to make an update to it. But as of now, that's where we are leaving the project, and you can actually play it on Edge. There will be a lot of bugs, by the way, but hopefully you still enjoy the project. And leave a comment and also a follow on Edge if you like the project, and also add it to your collection. Maybe just so you get notified when we make an update to the game. With that being said, till the next one. Side note, I'm still going to drop the Underground Title Races devlog update to what I've been working on, and I'm kind of interested to show this, because I took a lot of time and there's a lot of love in this project. So if you don't mind taking a look at that as well and giving it a thumbs up as well, that would be great. So yeah.